So this is the tail and the occiput that are actually connected. As I was saying to you, if you wanna work on lengthening something, you have to think of both sides doing it. If you only do it with one side, the only thing you're doing is pulling, and whatever is there is going with you, so you're not doing anything. So that's why I think it's important to do tensegrity practice and not just collapse practice, because if you do collapse, I'm only pulling, I'm not doing this. You feel the difference? Very big difference. That's why I'm hesitant to do the yin practice by themselves without knowing what else I need to move. So head and tail always need to work opposite from one another. And then I'd like you to see that these vertebrae here, the cervical vertebrae, are 7 of them. So they're just, and look how this one is just a little bit closer up. And how they are quite different. They're quite narrow, smaller, and they almost have no transverse processes on the side, you see? Thoracic spine has quite a few, quite a larger transverse processes. And then we go into the lumbar spine that has even bigger transverse processes. Also, when you look at facets of the lumbar spine, it's more side to side. You see how it is like it goes underneath, side to side. But if you look at this facet of the thoracic spine, it's more under. You see? This is more like tring tring. This is more like tring tring. You see? And this one is even more under.
I don't understand what you mean under.
Yeah.
What is under?
The facets are going under.
So they're like interlocking into each
Oh,
Under.
I see. Yeah.
other.
Under.
So there's more overlap kind of between
Yes,
them?
overlap. So the lower one goes under. You
So
see?
this, yeah, like
Where
almost
these
like
ones
this.
are
Whether
just
these
sitting
ones
on
are
top.
sitting on top.
Oh, there's no movement that forward
Exactly.
and back. It's
Exactly.
as much.
This is so important to know when it comes to a twisting. Because there is only 3% of twisting coming from the lumbar spine.
You can see why.
You can see why.
Yeah.
There is 60% in twisting coming in the thoracic spine, and there is something like 90% coming in the
90?
90 coming in the thoracic spine
Because of the neck.
because of the neck
Yeah.
and because of the eyes. Isn't that amazing?
Lydia, I experienced a few times of muscle spasm. Is that the reason why in the
Exactly.
lower? Because the twisting is only 3%.
Right
So when I
on.
twist it.
Right on. Give me 5.
Okay.
So important to know that as a yoga
Yeah,
teacher.
now I know. Why I'm getting those pains.
Lots of people have mobility, or they move the lumbar for twisting, and they're not doing thorax for this twisting. And maybe because you were just, as a child, somehow organized yourself in this way. But it's very important to have that. First of all, the length, right? The vertical axis is the first one that you embody. So you can't just be like this and then going to twist. So everybody who's in that position, they're going to just stay in that position and going to twist. So you would have to work with them in lengthening. And you work with lengthening by thinking both directions are going into the side. So if I'm working with, if I were going to stretch my spine, I'm not going to just move my head forward and stretch my spine. I have to think of my tailbone moving as much as because everything is going from the navel, so my tailbone going down as much as my head coming forward. And my head needs to feel like it's pushing from the crown of the head, not this way. Sometimes you feel people going in a cobra like this, right? They have to feel the push is coming from here. So their hyoid is a bone right here that literally holds the organs. If this hyoid is collapsed, your organs are collapsed. If the hyoid is up, it's like a hookup for the chandelier. Like my teacher Joy would say, it's like organs are like chandeliers, and this is like a roof for the chandelier. That's how important that is. And this is where your joy is,
Think of
right?
black women going
Huh?
get her black women when they put something on their head,
Yes.
right? The gut
Yeah.
would be like this.
Middle Eastern,
Oh,
also
whatever,
also in India. Like I had a beautiful movie of this tiny, I think it's from South India man who I'll try to find it. Like he found a basket and he was carrying his dad who was sick in that basket under the terrains that was very like uneven, and he put the basket on his head and he was carrying his dad on his head on that basket. Quite amazing. You can carry a lot of weight if you're working with that. So in other words, you have to work with that. In somatic practices, this is called the push from the tail and the push from the head. You have to know how to push from your tail and you push from your head. Like in Vajrayana Yoga, we say you have to work with opposites. If you're going up, you need to go down. If you go down, you need to come up. If you don't do that, if you're just collapsing, like sometimes teachers teach that in yin, to just collapse, you're collapsing in the joint, but you are not doing anything. You probably have to do this over and over again. It feels good at the time, but doesn't make any changes at all. So I would have you to hold this up and then to think about how this will wake up the whole spine, because you first have to have a length of the spine before I'm going to get you to the twist. So remember, 3%, 60%, 90%.
Now some people, like I know, like are on the lower, they're missing one, and it's, you know, doctors will say, oh, that's totally fine. And in my head, I'm like, well, how can it be totally fine then? Because my brother encountered that. He got an MRI and they realized, I don't know exactly what the names are, but the lower, you're supposed to have 4, and he only has 3.
So is one fused together maybe?
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, right?
Yeah, it gets fused together, and I'm thinking, well, maybe that's why, you know, you're having other issues and stuff like that. Because it doesn't seem normal to me, you know, because it's supposed to be that way.
Huh. I mean, you have the 6th in the lumbar. You can see with these transverse processes how they're much bigger than here, and then even that's much bigger than here. So you could see how different facets where you can't really move them. Here you can, and you also can feel. You see how they're kind of under one another. So when we're going into Cobra, it would be this one would go under this. Under this one will go under this one will go. So they're going under in order to come up into
But that's
the back.
also why you need length, because when you give
Exactly.
you need more
Exactly.
room, and then it's
Exactly. So we're first working on the length, and then when we're going into a twist, we have to have a very strong transverse line and the connection into the pelvic floor on, of course, our jaw, in order for us to be twisting in this direction. And I would like you to go with the twisting from your head, and then to feel I'm going to use a landmark for the bones. So I'm going to say head, and then this thing is whole hyoid, this bone right underneath of the jaw. So hyoid, the middle of the chest, which is called manubrium. This here connection between the ribs is called xiphoid, and then you're turning. And when you go back, you're going to go xiphoid, manubrium, hyoid, and then head. So I'm just using those landmarks. Why those landmarks? Because this is center, this is center, this is center. And this is going to help me to move my slinky, right? I showed you the slinky. Slinky has to have a momentum as opposed to me just moving all together or moving unconsciously with my lumbar. So let me just show you with myself, and then you can see it with others. I haven't done this before today, so I am going to be a little bit stiffer. So first I'm going to go movement forward and back. And then I'm going to reach the arm up and look first with my head. So my head goes first, and then my hyoid, and then my manubrium, and then my xiphoid. I could go further, but then what happens? My lumbar is engaged and I'm really having pain. So it has to be sequential. You have to find your slinky, so your head, and you have to look in the direction where you're going. So you see, I'm moving, and then I'm not able to move further than this, and this is okay because I want to keep my transverse connection, so I don't want to be moving my lumbar. So this is helping me, my belts here are helping me to know. And then I'm going to go back, first xiphoid, and then my manubrium, and then the hyoid, and then the hip. So you see I'm going one direction this way, and this direction, like I'm folding myself back in.
That's kind of how that baby was moving too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're
The
all
eye.
trying to imitate our
Yeah.
babies. That's the only thing we do.
Yeah.
And then when I come up, look at how longer this arm is and how much more connectedness this. I mean, I would have to do the other side, but
You
the
bet.
other side is my really injured side. So, or I'm weaker on this side. So you don't expect the same results. So head first, and then the hyoid, and then the manubrium. You see how much less I'm moving here, and then going ribs, chest. If you don't want to speak that detailed language, I mean, we only speak now because we're in a training, but you can say like this: head, chest, ribs, going back, ribs, chest, head, right? You're just telling them to go with the chunks of the body rather than going the twist, right? How you get there and where is the sequence of it. Sequences is very important. And you see now it's already a little bit bigger movement. Like I can feel that.
Is that the same as a supine twist in yoga pose? And
Everything, yeah. Supine twist, standing twist. I'm just in different relationship with gravity. It's the same pose. It's twist. It has to be done exactly in the same way. Except in a supine pose could be hurting more because you have more yielding and you're kind of relaxed and your capacity is that you can go like this. Whether when you're sitting, at least you're connected here and you're not able to. So you can hurt why I'm teaching this in a restorative practice because you put people that are relaxed into positions and then they go into this pose and stay here for 10 minutes or so and they're twisting the lumbar spine that it's not meant to be twisting. So you want to be opening their opportunity to just try to find more mobility through their thorax and then through their cervical. And then when you come up, you always move down as you come up. Another thing that we say that the cervical spine, we say this is 2, 3, 4, 5. The cervical spine 3, 4, 5. It's almost like a rhymes. It's connected to the diaphragm. So if you're like this, you will have problem with your breathing. And then you will have a problem with brain fluids going into your brain. And maybe when you're 70 or 80, you're going to have signs of dementia. But it's just like, can we work with the 3, 4, 5 spine? And we say cervical 3, 4, 5 keeps the diaphragm alive. So 3, 4, 5, yeah, the diaphragm alive. And then you give an opportunity for the diaphragm to breathe. So this, it's very important to find out. So why don't somebody comes here, whoever would like to, and then I'll show it with you. You want? Okay, good example, because what I know Christine told me is that she doesn't like back bends much. It's her least favorite. That she always feels that she had a long body and that her thoracic spine is not as mobile. So why don't you lie down? So this is presuming that you don't just sit the client and put it in the twist right away. You actually, what you do is working first with what we did today. So she's done it. So her body has a memory of it. So she will, I mean, I could connect her with the navel radiation. Never hurts to do it, okay? I'm holding her scapula with my hand and I'm moving it out. You feel me? Look at the difference in her scapula. You know when teacher takes saying, scapula down when you go to back bend. No way, sacrilegious, totally no way. Because if her scapula goes down, her ribs will pop up. I don't want her scapula to go down. I want her scapula is her arm. Her scapula is the part of the arm, so she's going out. And by doing this, I already created so much room in here. Look at the difference between this shoulder and that shoulder. And I can even do this, which we did, okay? I'm just repeating. So here we go. This side of the body already feels very different than this side of the body. And then here, so somebody asked me, Barb asked me, oh, she had trouble moving my arm, but you told me there was an injury, which is true. If there was an injury here, like for you, Sharon, this elbow just wouldn't relax. Just wouldn't relax. So I have to like, hello elbow, just trust me, I'm holding you. And then I could hold the scapula and then spread it out, like literally spread it out. And then find this navel radiation.
I'm not straight. Am I straight?
I can straighten. Maybe one side is a little bit more tighter for you. Yeah. So I definitely see that the pattern for Christine was to the ribs to pop up a little bit, so that means a little bit of lordosis, and she says that she has scoliosis, which makes sense, which caused these muscles to go tighter. Her pecs are quite tight. So for her to open her back body needs to be by opening her pectorals. And her pectorals will open when we find the relationship to the navel. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Like we're going back
Yeah.
to support it. And she will do this with her breath. So then I can come onto the back and find its relationship to, you see how she jiggles on her belly? That's a very good sign. So that's a sign that she has that relationship already. And this is the last one. It's her tail. And the tail, remember in embryo, was much longer than the limbs. Okay, well, you can kind of do the same thing as you did before. I'm lifting her foot, planting, lifting her knee, planting, holding just the knees, holding, lifting, holding, and folding. And then she's going to do her work. So your eyes are going in a direction like you're going to catch that thing, so you're going forward and then you're going back, forward and back. Just the first one. Why we're doing this? This is just to open the space between the scapula, interscapular region, which superficially opens up the whole functional line. But if you're thinking, it's all based on the navel radiation, right? It all starts from here. There you go. And then usually I say, find a support in the back behind your head. Because if she only has a blanket up to here, and her head needs to move here, it won't move because there is no support, right? So you have to just find that support. So she's going to look at her arm, head first, and then hyoid, and then manubrium, and then xiphoid. Here is her xiphoid. You see, she has really nice long body. So if she goes further, she would probably, you see, go in her lumbar. So we won't let her do that. So we're just gonna let you hold something here so that you can press into and then just do it yourself. So first head, and then neck, and then chest, and then ribs. That's it. And if you need to, you can even go further with just doing this and look in the same direction where you always go with the eyes, and then go ribs first, chest first, throat first, and then head. Nice. Okay. And then you can see what her spine is doing. She's just opening Wow, beautiful. Look how lower she is now in order to go. So I want her to really find that slinky and not to have the chunks going. She needs to separate each one of her vertebrae. Yes. You see, and she needs to work hard to maintain this so that her lumbar is not twisting. And then she goes back. And it's good for her to have these landmarks so that she knows, okay, let me move the xiphoid, let me move the chest and the manubrium, let me move the hyoid before I go with my head, right? So she can work on that cervical spine. With your eyes looking in the direction of your hand. Yeah. And look eyes, look up, look up. Look where your eyes, where your arm is. Uh-huh. Okay, and then come onto your back. And just relax here for a moment. And just see how you feel. Much longer on that side. Yeah. So there's almost like she opened her accordion here, but her accordion here is still, right, compressed. So.
And this is my shorter side.
This is your shorter
My
side?
right side, yeah.
This is your shorter side.
Like I have a
Okay, lift your arms up just to see how different your arms are. Okay, and then you can bend your knees, and you can go to the side this time. You bring both of your arms forward. Yeah. So you go into straight arm. This is from Feldenkrais. This work is Feldenkrais work. So you're kind of gliding forward. If somebody has big problems with their shoulders, I sometimes place this in between their shoulders. This is all preparation, eh? For sort of any kind of pose. And this is pretty much what you can do with one-on-one clients. So this will give her more ease than going here.
So people that could not maybe reach easily.
Exactly. And then you're looking at the arm forward and then starting to lift. Just very slowly. First move the head and then the throat and then the chest. And then, yeah, don't move the part, let it stay. And then ribs and chest. Can you see that she moves piece by piece? You can see that she's starting from her navel. She's not starting with her head. Can you see that? She's doing what that baby was doing. So in other words, she has to have really strong connection through her transverse pelvic floor obliques to bring her back. So this will also strengthen those.